Hello everyone and welcome to the Green Man channel. I hope you're doing good and well. So it's time for my second album review of this Sunday, talking about the fifth studio album from the technical death metal band Cytotoxin. This is their self-released album which came out on the 11th of April and is titled Biographyte. This follows on from 2020's Nuclear, which incidentally was one of my favourite albums of 2020, getting to I think number 4 in my end of year list for that year, and that was absolutely, that was a kind of, I felt like a force of death metal that I hadn't quite heard anything like that in a while, at least. And it was an absolutely fabulous record. And I feel like Cytotoxin, one of those bands, if you know them, you probably really like them or love them. If you don't know them, it's probably just because you've never heard of them or checked them out. They are a really explosive yet intelligent at the same time with what they choose to do. You get sort of the blast beat sound, the death metal sound, but you get a pretty fair amount of guitar heft and groove coming in. They know when to throw in an extra layer of guitar here and there, and you get sort of the whirlwind sort of guitar tapping technique things happening. And they're really, really an impressive band technically, but also I think they're good at constructing very kind of almost fairly immediate. It's not, I wouldn't say it's super accessible stuff, but it's fairly immediate and impactful technical death metal. And I think they're a really exciting band of recent times. Like I say, if you know the name Cytotoxin, you probably really like this band, because I know I do, and I know Nuclear was an absolutely sublime album from 2020. If you haven't checked that out, I would say definitely check it out if you like death metal or technical death metal. It's a superb record. And they kind of thrive off this theme of nuclear accidents. They call themselves Chernobyl death metal, so you tend to see them, quite often wearing gas masks in their videos or playing on that theme, or you see their album artwork often has someone with a gas mask on it. So I kind of like, it's quite clever the way they incorporate that into their music, I think. And the drum sounds on the previous record, Nuclear, kind of sounded like his drumstick was hitting one of those kind of nuclear or like toxic waste cans or something. It just sounded brilliant. They were very cleverly incorporated into their sound. So Biographyte, I'm not sure at the moment quite if I'm feeling this as good as Nuclear. I think it's still a really strong record. It has quite long stretches for me of their impressive guitar techniques. At times it borders a little bit on repetitive in terms of their sound. We know what a good sound they've got, and particularly as this album runs close, I think, to 50 minutes, it can feel a little bit, overindulgent a touch. Maybe they could have reined that in, I feel, a little bit on this record, and some of the songs, therefore, for me, particularly in the album's latter half, can become slightly tiresome. And saying that, though, I still think this is a pretty great record. I'm really enjoying tracks like Condemnesia, the pre-release single, which had flurries of guitar tapping, heavy chugging, and some impressive extended deep growls from singer Grimo as well. I'm also liking Behind Armored Doors, which wastes no time in unleashing the barrage of blast beat drumming, an impressive array of guitar licks in that song as well. Bull Overdose is a fun track with some neoclassical leads, I feel like, or almost neoclassical in the way that the guitarist is playing in this track, and more kind of whirlwind guitar shredding, and love the variations they do towards the end on that sort of flattening deathcore style riff at the end of the song as well. From Bitter Rivers, I felt, was like a really strong closing track to this record as well, which, whilst being in 6 minutes, I felt this one did well at sort of providing a little bit of, an ebb and flow kind of thing going on with this song, and not getting too tiresome too quickly. But by that stage, I was feeling the length of the record, because I felt like throughout the album we were getting similar offerings, which isn't like Cytotoxin at all. I feel like on previous albums they've kept things pretty condensed and found the ways to make their songs really hit you, kind of just the way you want a tech death record to hit you, in that sort of surprising yet fairly immediate way. So I'd say I'm still feeling that I'm going to give this album, I think, a 7.5 out of 10. I think if you're a Cytotoxin fan, you probably won't be disappointed by this record, but you may find it a little familiar at times. But overall, it's another pretty cracking album from this band, who I think have a very strong discography, and if you like your death and your tech death, or a bit of slam and a bit of groove in your sound or your styles of metal, then you need to listen to this band. They are pretty fantastic. So let me know what you thought of this record as well, this Biographyte album by Cytotoxin. I look forward to hearing you or to reading your comments. Otherwise, we'll be once again until the next video on the channel. Hope you all have a great week, and bye for now.